On the banks of the River Jordan, we remember the baptism of Jesus. The friars of the custody of the Holy Land went to the bank controlled by Israel, the apostolic administrator of the Latin Patriarchate of Jerusalem, on the Jordan bank. The divided Bethany is one of the main stops on this year's trip to the Holy Land by the European and North American bishops of the Holy Land Coordination. The visit also touched Gaza, Ramallah, and East Jerusalem. In Bethlehem, 12 panels retrace the history of the Milk Grotto. In an exhibition that has just opened, the tradition that binds Mary, Jesus and Joseph to this place is joined by that of many families who have obtained a grace here. The number of people with diabetes in Arab society has tripled in the last 15 years. Advice on contrast and prevention from Professor Naim Shehadeh of Rambam Hospital in Haifa. In Madaba, there is one of the oldest mosaic schools in the Middle East, an ancient tradition revived to give dignity and hope to those who, in recent years, have taken refuge in Jordan from Iraq, fleeing the war. The recent abundant rains have made the river much richer in water than usual. This river awaits the pilgrimage of the custody of the Holy Land on the Sunday after Epiphany. On the banks of the Jordan, we remember the baptism of Jesus, a feast that marks the end of Christmas time. There are not only strong times, but our life is mostly made of normality. And since the baptism of Jesus marks the beginning of his public life and his ministry, from now on we will listen to his preaching and we will try to become disciples and part of the church. Only 2 days before, the apostolic administrator of the Latin Patriarchate of Jerusalem, Archbishop Pierbattista Pizzaballa, had gone to the other bank, to the place that tradition recognizes as the place where John the Baptist actually baptized Jesus. He went there also to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the beginning of modern pilgrimages to the site, together with the entire Jordanian Catholic Church and the authorities of the country. In fact, the river also marks the border with Jordan. On the side controlled by Israel, the demining of its banks is still in progress, making them increasingly accessible. Now it's much better than it used to be. They've cleared the mines, people can come and visit. I see many pilgrims who come, many parishioners too. Many Christians from different places in our parishes come here and ask for baptism. We invite everyone to come and visit, to pray and to take the blessing of this place. While groups of pilgrims go to the waters of the Jordan, the baptism of little Maryam is celebrated.
We have chosen to baptize her today so that she may bring the joy of this holy day into our home, as Maryam did the day she was born when she brought us so much happiness.
In the morning, all the local authorities receive the Franciscans in Jericho, where a good coexistence between the Muslims and the Christian minority has developed. In addition to the mayor, governor and head of the family, there is also the imam of the nearby mosque. We say that this is the land of peace, of love, of humanity. This is Palestine, land of saints, of prophets. We say that Jesus was born here, that this will remain the land of peace and that a good relationship between Muslims and Christians will remain over the years. The journey continues following the sequence of events told by the Gospel, from the Jordan up to the Mount of Temptation in the desert where Jesus withdrew for 40 days and 40 nights. He comes out victorious from temptation in such a way that we too can transmit the same victory. We too, in the face of the suggestions of evil, sin and selfishness, can be free people. The divided Bethany is one of the main stops on the Holy Land Coordination's annual trip to the Holy Land. In addition to Gaza, Ramallah and East Jerusalem, this group of bishops from Europe and North America wanted to return after 10 years to see the kindergarten run by the Kumboni nuns, which is literally behind the separation wall built by Israel.
Direi che la situazione non è migliorata.
I'd say the situation hasn't improved. 10 years ago, we were still hoping that the wall would open, that at some point they would at least do a checkpoint, a military checkpoint, that they would find a way through this wall. But in the last few years, the wall has closed down for good, and children from the other side, from the Palestinian side, no longer have access to school.
The 9-meter-high concrete columns and barbed wire did not stop the small community. Part of the nuns moved beyond the wall to continue serving the people of Bethany, in Arabic Al-Azariya.
Non è facile vivere in una situazione.
It is not easy to live in a tense situation, to find yourself trapped between these two peoples that we love, and of which we are a part, but who nevertheless confront each other in our house, right in our garden. I think it is very important that the bishops know the situation as it is, without partial interests, that they know the life of the people, and in this case, our life, as it is. We have a story to tell, the story of this little piece of wall. But the wall is more than 800 kilometers long, and every little piece has its own story.
The work alongside the Bedouin children who live in surrounding hills in real sheet metal huts is another of the activities of the Cambodian nuns, told to the bishops not without emotion.
Because they are working with the people in the neighborhoods, they're building bridges, they're trying to live the gospel. They're not getting involved in the political parties and ideologies. And so their witness is very, very important in the Holy Land. It's a voice that needs to be heard, and their example speaks very strongly.
Questo esserci nonostante.
This being there, in spite of everything, this being there for people who are living in a situation for which it seems that there are no solutions, is important. At the moment there may not be any solutions, but these people have to live, so they need someone who lives with them, who helps them in their needs, who shares their life with them. This is a sign that no war, no wall, no hate can break down.
Guerra, nessun muro, nessun odio può abbattere.
The main theme of the week's visit was the younger generation. The Holy Land coordination also went through the Gaza Strip, Ramallah and East Jerusalem, welcomed by the local church.
Lo scopo è quello di ascoltare.
The aim is to listen, to know, and then return to their countries and give voice to the needs of the church and its future.
Le esigenze della Chiesa, le sue prospettive.
I think it's easy for us in the West, especially in places like England, where I'm from, to bury our heads in the sand, to think that we live thousands of miles away, so it doesn't really affect us. But I think that many of our Christian communities back at home now are becoming more involved and becoming more concerned.
A place rich in history. This is the Milk Grotto located near the Basilica of the Nativity in Bethlehem.
Sappiamo sempre dal Vangelo di Matteo che poi
We know from Matthew's Gospel that an angel appears to Joseph in a dream and tells him to take Mary and the child with him and to flee to Egypt because Herod wants to kill them. According to a very ancient tradition, this is one of the places where Mary stopped to take care of the child, to rest, and also to nurse him.
si è fermata per prendersi cura del bambino, per riposare e anche per allattarlo.
This cave is made of white rock. While Mary was nursing, a drop of milk fell on this rock, making it completely white. The story of Jesus, Mary and Joseph is joined by the story of many families who have obtained a grace here and have left stories of the miracles they have received.
Sono tantissimi i miracoli che sono qui, la gente che vengono.
Miracles are many. People sometimes come when they have difficulty having children. They come to pray to Our Lady. They bring this dust, and in a room we keep their numerous testimonies. Up to now, there are about 6,000 testimonies that have arrived by mail.
Testimonianza che ci arrivano via la posta.
A place full of history told from now on through 12 explanatory panels. All this so that pilgrims can get to know one of the places through which the Holy Family passed.
E la idea era de que i peregrini che vengano qui
The idea is that pilgrims come here and can read the historical sources of the cave. It is above all the sources that we have researched at the Custody of the Holy Land, and it is information that will certainly help the pilgrims who come here a lot.
può aiutare tantissimo i peregrini che vengono di qua.
Ogni pannello, esatto, ha
Each panel has its own meaning, an object to which it refers. Let us start from the name and history of the church, from the mentions to the church found in the apocryphal Gospels. The panels are in 6 languages. The most widespread language is English. Then we have Italian, Polish, French, and the local language, which is Arabic, since we are in Bethlehem and therefore in the land of Palestine.
che è l'arabo, visto che siamo a Betlemme, quindi in terra di Palestina.
An idea that was very much appreciated by this visitor. It is a joy to be able to participate in this very special moment, that is the opening and inauguration of this exhibition, which tells a little bit of this story, of what the Milk Grotto is and what it represents. Diabetes affects almost every family in Arab society. The percentage of the population affected by the disease has tripled in the last 15 years, and it is one of the highest in the world. 50% of Arab women between the ages of 55 and 75 have diabetes. The director of the Institute of Endocrinology and Diabetology at Ramam Hospital in Haifa, Professor Naim Shehadeh, attributes this phenomenon primarily to genetic factors and secondly to the lack of a healthy lifestyle.
كميل وراثي أو ميل جيني عند المجتمع العربي. الحياة، البيئة، العمل في الحقل.
There is a genetic predisposition among Arabs, but the work and lifestyle, the environment and the quality of food can prevent diabetes and obesity. Our lifestyle has changed. From a society that fed on healthy food and did physical activity, we have moved on to a society that is less active and eats mostly fast food. All this led to the more widespread occurrence of obesity and diabetes.
هذا غير زاد السمنة وأدى إلى ظهور السكري بشكل كبير وواضح.
Diabetes is a type of disease that is more common among the poor because their food depends more on carbohydrates, especially bread. Statistics also show that about 90% of diabetics do not exercise. Professor Shahideh explains that the responsibility for limiting the spread of the disease lies primarily with families, who should maintain a healthy lifestyle, and then with the Ministry of Health and the agencies responsible for public health and health services, who must monitor the development of the disease in society and recommend a proper diet.
النصيحة العامة التقليل من النشويات، التقليل من السكريات والإكثار من الأكل اللي بيحوي الألياف.
The general advice is to reduce starch and sugar and increase foods that contain fibers, such as many vegetables, which do a lot of good. The quality of food that can be found in the Mediterranean area is one of the best. We have a lot of vegetables, fruits, olive oil, cereals, hazelnuts, almonds and legumes. We can eat fish and lean meat. All these are healthy and beneficial foods and constitute a diet that is considered among the best.
والبقوليات في عندنا كتير ممكن نستعمل الأسماك واللحوم قليلة الدسم. كل هاي مأكولات صحية مفيدة وتعتبر من أحسن أنواع التغذية.
Given the latest developments in medicine and care, Professor Shehadeh says,
اليوم الأدوية الجديدة التحديث اللي صار إنها أدوية تعمل 3 أشياء مهمة.
The new drugs and treatments give 3 types of benefits to the diabetic patient. The first benefit is a sugar balance. The second is weight reduction. However, the most important one is the maintenance of a healthy heart and blood vessels and the reduction of risk of cardiovascular disease.
على القلب والأوعية الدموية وتخفيف خطورة حصول إصابات في القلب والأوعية الدموية عند مريض السكري.
To deal with the spread of diabetes, which has become a ghost threatening the security of Arab society, these suggestions should be followed. It is necessary to maintain a healthy lifestyle, daily physical activity, obesity prevention, and healthy food. This is the most effective way to prevent the disease or to keep it within stable levels. The representation of Jerusalem drawn with hundreds of mosaic tiles is one of the best-known images of the Byzantine Holy Land. The map of Madaba has become one of the symbols of a city that boasts one of the oldest mosaic schools in the Middle East, an ancient and precious tradition revived and rediscovered to give dignity and hope to those who in recent years have taken refuge in Jordan fleeing the war. Rivin, Iraqi, 23 years old, proudly displays another large map made entirely of mosaic together with 17 other aspiring mosaicists, the biblical map of the country that welcomed her, a Jordanian Caritas project for Iraqi Christians.
It took us 50 days to put it down. It wasn't easy.
Madaba holds many other precious mosaics which in Byzantine times decorated private homes and churches, like the one dedicated to the Virgin made 150 years after the Muslim conquest. We see here in the site a mosaic of the last phase, where we also read the Islamic presence because we see a big geometric presence, and also because these mosaics are very simple. There is a white background and a decoration on it as if it was a small sketch. With a very limited palette, they've done some incredible things. Even Franco Sciorilli, a mosaic restorer, has put professionalism and passion at the disposal of the less fortunate. In his workshop in Madaba, thanks to 2 Italian NGOs, AVSI and Habibi, Iraqi refugees learn the art of ceramic mosaic. Our idea was to start teaching a trade. We have the Jordanians who make stone mosaics, but our idea was to turn to the mosaic made of ceramics. Normal ceramics that you buy for the furniture of the house. An art that Ryan and 4 other colleagues are ready to export to Australia. The long-awaited visa has finally arrived. After these 2 years in the lab, we hope to open our little business there.